Hey guys, I'm here with Brian Carter. He's a well-known digital marketer. He's written 4 books called The Like Economy and The Cowbell Principle, and one about Facebook marketing. Isn't that right?
Yeah, two about Facebook marketing, and then one about LinkedIn, and then the cowbell book. Yeah.
Yeah. I've actually I haven't gotten around to order The Cowbell Principle yet. Can you short tell me what it's about?
Yeah, I mean, well, so here, I don't know if you guys watch Saturday Night Live over there, but the most popular Saturday Night Live sketch is called More Cowbell, and it has Will Ferrell and Christopher Walken in it, and it's they pretend to be recording. They're the Blue Oyster Cult recording "Don't Fear the Reaper," and Will Ferrell's character is playing the cowbell, and he's annoying the heck out of all his bandmates, and Christopher Walken comes out. He's a producer, and surprisingly, he thinks the cowbell's the best part. So he's like, I want more cowbell. You got to give me more cowbell. And he finally says, I got fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell. And it's ridiculous. But the point is that Will Ferrell's character loves playing that cowbell, and it's an important part of the song. And so I use that as an analogy for, find that thing that your customers have a fever for that you also love to do that, and not only are you going to be great at it because you love doing it, but it's going to drive your economic engine because people want it, so they're going to buy it. And there are a bunch of other, we found like 9 other lessons in that sketch. But yeah, so it's a fun book, but it has both business, HR, and also marketing applications.
That's cool. You were
Yeah.
talking about finding the thing that kind of drives your audience. That's actually something that's come up within the recent interviews I've had, is to go about to find and uncover what your audience triggers on, or what they're interested in, and building content and ads around that. But no one's yet answered about how you can actually find that cowbell with precision. How would you go about to
Yeah.
figure out that
Well,
cowbell?
I do I do 2 things, and I mean 3 really. If you want to go to Google and look at what people are searching for keywords, you can look at Google Trends too, like see, like for example, content marketing is going up like crazy,
Yeah.
and you can compare that to social media marketing, and it went up like crazy several years ago and it's kind of leveled off. So you can see where the interest is and where it's trending. But then I always go to Facebook Audience Insights, which, I mean, I'm surprisingly not a lot of people know about. It's inside the ad manager. So maybe if you haven't run ads, you haven't seen it. But you can put in your fans, your brand name, or a competitor's brand name. You can put it in their country, etc., and then find out a ton of information about that audience. Like dozens of things, from what other pages and things do they like, what do they do on Facebook, and all of it compared to the average. Like, and what, are they more male, female? What are the top cities? What are the least likely cities for that audience, etc. So you get a more of a 3-dimensional picture of who that person is. And then the final thing, which is really important, is that kind of day after day you're posting stuff to a Facebook audience, or you're running ads and you're seeing what they click on the most at the highest rate, whether it's a click-through rate on an ad, or you're looking at the interaction divided by the number of people who saw that post, which we'd call engagement rate. And so you figure out which posts have the highest engagement rate for your audience, and you're learning every single day, and you're revising your theory about what they like and don't like every single day.
Yeah.
And so those are the things I use to try and better understand the audience. By the way, about Audience Insights, they also have personas in there, because they teamed up with a company called Personix, one of their like 3 or 4 main data partners that correlates your email address with your Facebook account. So they have, like, all of us, I don't know about you guys, but we go to the grocery and they're like, do you want to be part of our loyalty program? Do you want to save money on these groceries? And then they record all that information. So some of that information then comes out in the Facebook Audience Insights.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're so far away from the States that it takes a couple of weeks or months for Facebook to deploy new changes even in the ad platform. So like, we're still waiting for the option to target people with an ad that's within the area of a business. But I know it's there, but it's
Huh.
only available in the States.
Wow, that's a bummer. I hope you get it soon.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
Hmm.
We'll be the first one to implement it in our platform,
Hmm.
nonetheless. But I actually saw the video you had on YouTube called "Social Media is Hilarious"
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you're a comedian as well, right?
Yeah. Yep. I started doing stand up about 8, 9 years ago, and I still have an improv troupe locally, so I still do
Wow,
improv comedy. Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
So you out of everyone that I've talked to probably knows the best how to trigger emotions and how to play on humor, because I think humor is a
Yeah.
really difficult thing to play around with if you're a brand. Yeah, sorry.
No, I mean it definitely is, and I mean we don't actually get a lot of times our work for clients is dead serious. I mean, occasionally, and in Facebook posts we'll have funny stuff. Like for example, yesterday I did one. Like I have a client that's a recruiting client, so we're trying to help them find more candidates to apply for jobs, and I did one with a dog that looked really freaked out, and I captioned it. I said, "What you mean we out of bacon?" And then in the text, you gotta make it relevant. So in the text above, in the actual Facebook post, I put, "Not bringing home the bacon. Apply for a job here." And I'm kind of lucky that that bacon tie-in was there because I would have used bacon anyway.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, sometimes we use humor, and yes, it is very difficult to do because I mean I think everybody's had this experience. If you've never gone and done stand up or done an open mic or something, sometimes your humor doesn't work, even with your coworkers and stuff, right? So, and sometimes it can be misunderstood. But I think comedy teaches you a lot of lessons about being able to relate to people, making sure you're using references that they know and understand. You really have to, sometimes you luck out and you do something funny and you don't even know why it's funny. But if you're planning the stuff, you need to be able to figure out, are they going to think this is funny? So you end up having to have kind of a general sense of what everybody understands and doesn't, what they're familiar with and what they aren't. And then kind of the formula for being funny is just surprise, right? There's also a theory called benign violation where you're doing something that's wrong, but it's not super harmful. It just doesn't go over the edge to be super serious. Like tickling somebody is like you're invading my space, but you're not really hurting me.
yeah,
You're sort of hurting my ego a little bit. So that's an example.
yeah.
Yeah.
You talked a little about your ad and keeping it relevant regarding the dog and bacon and
Yeah.
everything. What I see especially from brands, regardless of where they come from, is that they tend to spend more time on developing content they use for content marketing, like for
Yeah.
organic posts and everything they share. And ads is becoming more and more generic. They're kind of spending more time on the organic stuff and then having something just pushed out as an ad because it is an ad and because they're putting money on it, it will deliver. Is that
Hmm.
something you agree on, or?
Well, I mean, it can backfire for you on Facebook. For example, we have that same client. I used this post of a dog that's like in midair because he's running and his tongue is hanging out. He looks ridiculous. And it says, being weird is just a symptom of being awesome. Um, and that post, so we found that as one of hundreds of posts that we've run that was highly, highly engaging. And when we ran it as an ad, it costs us less than a penny per like. So on the post, like post
Yeah.
likes, post comments, post shares, we were getting 6 interactions on the post per penny. And so you get rewarded in Facebook ads for the same thing, which is being relevant. Like,
Yeah.
are you putting a piece of content up there or an ad that really people in that audience really respond to? Does it really fulfill a need? And if it really fulfills a need, yes, it's going to hit their emotions. Um, if you are, the cost is lower. So in a way, Facebook penalizes you with a higher cost when your ad or your content is not as relevant or impactful. So yes, you can push it out there even if people don't like it, but it's going to cost you a lot more, and your competitors are going to beat you if they pay attention to what people actually like.
Yeah.
Unless
So,
you
so
have a gigantic budget, right? Like if you have a gigantic, all those companies that have the gigantic budgets, they're still going to succeed this way.
yeah. But so the what can we call it? The formula for success with
Mm,
Facebook advertising is to know your audience,
yeah.
to work on relevance. But at
Hmm.
the end, the businesses are always going to measure on, or they should measure on sales. And unfortunately, it's kind of hard to come down to the level of cost without being relevant. I don't know if I'm making sense myself
Yeah,
here.
you're saying it's going to cost less if you're relevant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
how
Go ahead.
how would I know? Or basically, I'll lose money before I'll reach a good enough relevant score to
Oh
at the
yeah.
end, yeah, get
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
lower cost per action or cost per lead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to be a scientist, so you're going to be running a bunch of ads, and you know that in the first month or two, we'll ask clients to work with us for 3 months because we know that we know the least in that first month, and our ads are going to be the most expensive, and we have the like most likelihood of things looking horrible in that first month. And after, as we basically process of elimination, because the thing is that you could run 50 ads, and one or two of them is going to be amazing. It's going to be really affordable, and people are going to respond to it really well. But unless you run those 50, you won't know which one that is. And there's some research that shows that marketing experts don't get better at predicting which one of those 50 it's going to be. So all you can do is take your marketing knowledge, your customer knowledge, create those tests, put them out there, and see which one works, and then you try to learn from that, and you do get better at the stuff you create. Like you're creating less of the stuff that doesn't work. um, but yeah, you're definitely, you have to, I tell people to look at it as an investment. You are investing money in the ads in the beginning to figure out what works well. And then after that, you reach a level of efficiency where you're looking, for example, with lead gen, you're looking for what's that initial cost per lead. And it depends on the niche. Like we've had like tech companies where to reach the chief information officer, it could cost $70 a lead. We've had B2C stuff, but same customer. We've reached other people with other ads that were $29 a lead. So even within that expensive niche, you can find the more affordable cost per action. And it's the same with cost per sale. It's just the variables are who's the audience, what's the offer, and are you testing enough?
But at the end, you have to have a relevant score that's good enough for you to eventually, in the end, have a low cost per action.
Well, there is a relevancy score in Facebook ads, but it doesn't always correlate to a lower cost.
Okay.
And I don't know because we don't know that much about how they're scoring relevancy there. In Google AdWords, the quality score I think is a lot more directly tied to how the performance and the cost happens than in Facebook right now.
Yeah.
As far as we can tell, because there will be like an 8 and it's very expensive, and then there's like a 6 and it's like our best cost per lead. So, right now it's not a huge factor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I really don't have anything else to ask. I like to keep these interviews short.
Cool.
What's the next? It's a quite big question though at the end.
Huh.
What's the next big thing marketers need to do or watch out for when it comes to Facebook for the next 6 months?
Well, I'll answer that in kind of a meta way. Like most companies need to work on what's already here. Most companies aren't very good at what's already working. And it's funny because and I do the same thing when I interview. I'm like, what's coming down the pike? But I think the best thing to do is to get better at the stuff that's already proven. Like I'm not always an early adopter. I came to Facebook a few years later than some other people did as a marketing platform, and I'm still waiting for Pinterest and for Instagram to release ad platforms that everybody can access, right?
Yeah.
Because I want something that'll scale, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. so so I think, so I'll wait for something to mature and then try to optimize the heck out of it. Um, but mobile is usually, I think you guys have had mobile's been bigger for you guys longer. Um, I mean, one day there will be virtual reality, but I think that's going to be a long time. So, you know,
Well, that's a cool way to answer if anyone answers you this question again. The next big thing is virtual reality.
yeah.
But you're kind of really kind of pro advertising on the internet, while many big names here in Norway are kind of like, no, we got to be careful. We have
Mm,
to make sure we're not intrusive. People are installing ad block on their computers. Why are you
yeah.
so pro advertising?
Well, so number one, yeah, and I mean, there's a cultural thing too. I mean, and I think that fits with my understanding of Norwegian culture, that you don't want to be so pushy, um, but the thing is that people go on Facebook, for example, because they're bored. Okay, so um, in my experience, they may see something funny or interesting that's really B2C type content. They may see something that makes them more effective at work. They're just as interested in that. So at least over here, I don't know about over there, but there's not as much of a division anymore between the personal life and the business life. We have our devices and our email all the time. Um, so but the main reason that I like advertising is it's scalable and it's targetable and it's instant. So because with all the organic stuff, and it's the same with PR, um, you're relying on having enough inspiration frequently and getting enough of these sort of earned hits. Like, and it's very difficult. It's pretty much impossible for someone to have a genius idea every day. So that means a lot of your ideas are going to fail, and a lot of your organic earned stuff is not going to work. If you can't take the stuff, what I like about advertising, you can take the stuff that did work and continue to get it out there as long as you want to exactly who you want it to. Um, and that targeting is really important. I also think people don't often look at what's the real cost of the time that we're investing when we're doing it without an advertising. How much money are we spending on our people and our resources and their time to do the non-advertising stuff, and are we figuring that into our ROI calculation? Because advertising is a huge time saver.
And especially on Facebook, because I see I've done a couple of tests with clients I work with, and see that if you compare it to, let's say, an ad in a newspaper online, even, you get much more back from the money you put in. So for now, I think Facebook is going to keep being cheaper than the alternative and even more effective, because I think it's
Yeah.
the fact that it's put in a social context, and as you say, you have the option to be relevant. It'll be cost effective as well.
Yeah, and really, all the reasons that you could list why someone wouldn't do Facebook advertising are why you should, because those people aren't doing it, it's less competitive and less expensive,
Exactly.
right? All
Exactly.
the excuses and all the learning curves and everything that get in the way are your advantage if you decide, oh, I'm going to tackle this Facebook ad thing and do it.
Okay. Cool. I think we have enough to entertain our
Cool.
Norwegian and European followers.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you taking time to do this with me.
My pleasure. Thanks for
And I
having
hope
me.
we'll keep in touch in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah.